Hello Internet, it's me Josh, the aging gamer. So, Skullmonkeys. So what's Skullmonkeys? Well, let's go back to the year of 1996. Doug TenNapel, creator of Earthworm Jim, along with DreamWorks Interactive, released a new game called The Neverhood for Microsoft Windows. Taking place in a whole new world with all new characters, this was a claymation point-and-click adventure starring a new hero named Klaymen. The gist of the story is that Klaymen has to stop the evil Clog from taking over their land of Neverhood, which is a giant island floating in an endless void, by reviving their godlike creator. Klaymen, of course, saves the day, and Clog is blasted into the void. Even though the game itself had mostly positive reviews and even received a PlayStation port in Japan, the sales were awful, with total sales reaching only around 50,000 copies sold. Yet, somehow the game got a sequel. Enter Skullmonkeys for the PS1. The developers kept all the characters and claymation, but instead of a point-and-click adventure, it's a 2D side-scroller. So why exactly am I reviewing the game? Well, to be honest, this isn't even my game. This is my wife's game. This was a game she played when she was younger. But what got me interested in it was the fact that it was designed by Doug TenNapel. And goddamn, Earthworm Jim is one of my favorite games, so I want to see what other side-scrollers he could design. Well, let's find out how it is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Skullmonkeys. So the story here is that after being shot into the void, Clog landed on the planet Itsnack, home of the Skullmonkeys. After Clog brutally skins one alive, Jesus Christ, he proclaims himself the leader of all Skullmonkeys, and they are now doing his bidding, except for one named Jerry O. Clog wants to create a giant death machine called the Evil Machine No. 9 to destroy the land of Neverhood. Jerry O sends a device to the island and snatches Klaymen up to save the day. So, our adventure now starts. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed with the cutscenes here. I love the claymation, and it really fits this world of Skullmonkeys. I don't think it would have the same effect if this game were made with polygons or pixels. This is beautiful! Once we get into action, Klaymen is ready to kick some ass. The main controls are holding the square button to run, and using the X button to jump. Most enemies are killed by the good old bop on the head. As you complete the first couple of stages, you'll see some of the power-ups and weapons you'll obtain throughout your adventure, like the green bullets, a technique called Fart Head, the Phoenix Hand that homes an enemy and kills it. And also one of my favorite weapons is the Universe Enema, just kills everything on screen. Sure, it's a useful weapon, but I just like the name of it. The Universe Enema. How epic. The first couple levels seem easy enough. You try your best to avoid getting hit because it's one of those you get hit once and you're dead kind of games. Throughout the levels, you'll see these clay balls. Collect 100 to get an extra life. Find giant clay balls at the end of the level, and you'll move on to the next stage. If you collect enough of these swirly cues, you'll be able to access a bonus stage that allows you the opportunity to get a bunch of extra lives. But the best part of the bonus room is the music that plays in the background. I'm gonna go ahead and play my favorite part.
Oh, you're looking incredible. You're the bomb. And me, I'm kinda like your dad. And a little like your mom. There are no monsters here. Hey, wait, look over there. I was just kidding. Don't be scared.
That's twisted. I love it. This game has a lot of good music. I also love this very white man mariachi song that plays in one of the later levels, where the dude is just saying the name of Mexican dishes.
Chimichanga and Dos Taquitos, Chili Relleno. just give me rice and wheat on.
Overall, the composer of this game, Terry Scott Taylor, does a really awesome job. And again, the game visually looks really good. Sometimes the screen can be a bit too dark, but it can still look great. All the characters and bosses look good. Klaymen is wacky and has a lot of great animations. The level backgrounds are simple, but they're varied and all stand out from each other. And some of the bosses look great, like this big dude here. He looks like he's gonna mess you the hell up, even if he's actually one of the weaker bosses. And this guy? Look how ridiculous that looks. That's hilarious. This game just has so much personality. But all that aside, there's a lot of not so great stuff about Skullmonkeys. First thing I want to talk about is Klaymen's movements because, my god, his controls feel so stiff, yet so slippery at the same time. If you press the jump button, you won't get a whole lot of distance. However, if you hold down the run button, you can jump further out, but it gets harder to land because the running jumps cause you to be just a hair more slippery than usual. You won't notice it too much at first, but when you're jumping on tiny platforms, it gets really aggravating. Ah, this is brutal! While I don't mind a challenge, some of the gameplay is downright unfair. Like, take a look at this boss. You're supposed to shoot him in the shins, then hit him in the face. He then strikes several times, randomly, across the screen, but all his strikes are so quick, and all his pre-strike stances look nearly identical, so you have hardly any time to react. It feels luck-based. And the last levels? Good God, here you're supposed to activate 2 different hologram platforms to get across the stage. The problem is that there's a timer on them. By the time you get to the end of the final platform, it disappears, so you're racing against time and Klaymen's shitty movements. Go! And also, this game, for whatever reason, doesn't use save files. Instead, it's all passwords. Well, it's a platformer. How long can this game be? Let's see, there's 17 worlds? And each world has on average 4 levels each. Then when you add in the bonus level, there's too damn many for a game that controls like this. Even if Skullmonkeys had Super Mario game mechanics, you know, the cream of the platforming crop, this game would still just unpleasantly drag on and on. There's a few gimmick levels here and there to switch things up, but for the most part, this game feels like it was really dragged out. A lot of the levels just have you doing the same thing over and over and over. Every world just feels like one long, gigantic level. The only saving grace here was the rare moments when you would get a cutscene.
Cool.
So to wrap this all up, I love the concept of Skullmonkeys, but from a gameplay aspect, I just don't find it very great. Do I recommend playing this? It's hard to say. Like I've already said so many times already, I don't really care for the gameplay. I tried really hard to love it, but the game mechanics just don't do anything different from any other platforms to stand out. The mechanics can use some tweaking, the game is even more difficult than it should be because of that, and it just goes on for way too long. I might be able to forgive the game a bit more if it were shorter and consisted of more quality than quantity. There's so many stages they could have cut because they felt exactly like the stage before. The only real reason to play this game is because of its quirky stop-motion animations. The claymation style, while not entirely a new concept, was never done in a big game like this before. It looks amazing. I would love to see what this would look like in HD, but all in all, I hate to sound like I'm just hating on the game so much, but by the very end, I was just over everything. The visual novelty wore off and I just felt like I was playing an uninspired platformer. But hey, props to the designers for keeping it a 2D platformer in 1998 when 2D platformers were dead. I could not imagine what this game would have looked like if they followed the 3D platformer trends of the time. But those are just my opinions. What do you guys think? You don't have to agree with me. Do you like the game? Do you hate the game? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you liked this video. Like if you liked it. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. And I'll see you all on the next one.
Silly, isn't he?